Indeed we do. So we've come to Chitra Dam, hoping to find Hosana, and we've found him. And as we got here, he went flying past us and went into this little gully system, and he's managed to grab himself what I think is an Egyptian goose. I'm not 100% sure. We're trying to get into a better position to see, but it looks like a duck that he's grabbed, or a Egyptian goose youngster. I can't see nicely, and where it was hiding, I have no idea, because he was sniffing about, and then all of a sudden he went running, and he's kind of looking at it a bit perplexed at this stage, not quite sure what he wants to do with it, but there it is. Is it a duck? Yes, it is. It's a little Egyptian goose gosling that he's gotten. Hosana, how did you spot that? And what is it doing by itself? Now, I know some of you is a bit sensitive, because obviously it's a little baby that's been taken, which is not ideal, and it's never nice to see that. But these poor Egyptian geese, if it's not from fish eagles and big catfish and crocodiles, it's the marauding Hosana behind Chitra Dam wall. Now, he must have realized that there was this little gosling by itself, and it begs the question as to where's the rest of the family, because I don't see any sign of an adult goose that has flown anywhere or anything like that. And so I wonder how he managed to find this. Liam, I think let's reposition a little bit, because we're going to get a better view from back here. Let me go this way quickly. It's going to be a bit difficult because he's kind of got his back to us. Oh, sorry, it's a little bumpy here. There's lots of eroded sections in this area. But that was ridiculous. He literally just went flying and caught himself a goose. It's one of the first times I've seen a leopard hunting Egyptian goose like this. And, well, wouldn't put it past Hosana, would you? Because he's always up for a performance, isn't he? So there we go. Now, there we go. He's just sitting. Now, sorry, Curse, I didn't copy you. If you can just repeat that for me. But he's now panting a little. So K6, you say he's a show-off? Indeed he is. He put on a massive show this morning for James and Ronald. And, well, now he's just decided, well, I'm going to hunt and just show off quickly. And it was amazing, because we came here and I said to him, I wonder if Hosana's around. And we kind of drove up onto the dam wall, and he was looking at us as if to say, where have you been? I've been waiting here all afternoon. He was standing on the edge of the dam wall. And then he came trotting down into this little drainage line and grabbed himself a goose, as if to say, I'm going to show off for you guys because you've had a bad day. Viam and I have not had the best day today at all. We've had car troubles this morning. This afternoon we've had issues in terms of, that's why we were a little bit tardy. And so it's been a good surprise to have Hosana come out and just put on a bit of a show. And like I say, it is sad to when you see an animal kind of get taken, particularly, you know, a little baby animal like that. It's never nice. And what is surprising to me is obviously that there's no adults anywhere in this area, and why an Egyptian goose youngster is by itself. It's an odd place for it to be. Maybe there was something wrong with it already, or there's some sort of issue, but he managed to get it. And, well, it's good nutrients for Hosana, and it just goes to show how well he's taken to, you know, adult life. He's really come into his own. It's been almost a year now since he kind of has been by himself and was orphaned and kind of did his own thing, and he's really... And he managed to kind of, he's managed to really kind of sort himself out and figure it out in terms of hunting. Now, Paul, you think today is Leopard Thanksgiving? Yes, well, Hukumuri was a bit of a glutton this morning, wasn't he? It wasn't just enough to grab a warthog. He had to grab a steenbok as well. And interesting that he's managed to finish one at least, and obviously the other one was stolen. But certainly seems like it's a leopard fiesta today in terms of food, and they're all kind of tucking in. Now, a meal like this, of course, won't fill Hosana, but it will definitely just add a little bit of nutrients, and certainly he'll get some energy from the little chase that he did to grab it. So Beck, you say you guess that an Egyptian goose tastes better than a rubber wheel. Well, I would imagine so, even though it seems as though he's gulping it down just as much as he did Ronald's tire, because poor Ronald sustained some damage once again. Hosana's done quite a few little things to Ronald. He put his canine through the housing once, and, well, obviously we saw him this morning just destroying the tire. And for those of you that weren't watching this morning, Ronald drove up to Hosana, and Hosana decided, well, if you're going to drive up to me, I'm going to take one of your tires, and carried off the rubber tire. Oh, there's some ellies also coming down towards Chitra Dam as well. It's all happening. This is why Chitra Dam on a sort of warm afternoon is a really great place to be. So it's not only a leopard on a kill, we now have ellies coming down to drink. Absolutely wonderful. So well done, VM. Good spot. But certainly he's kind of tucking into this, and I don't think there's anything left already. Almost, it looks as though he's eaten most of it. It wasn't a very big meal, and like I said, there'll be a lot of feathers there. There's actually not that much meat on a small Egyptian goose like that, but certainly just kind of a little appetizer for Hosana. Looks as though he's looking for more, doesn't it? He's kind of looking in the area where he grabbed it at first and is kind of just having a little sort of scratch around. I wonder if he thinks maybe there's some more around that he can hunt. Right, well, we're going to sit with Hosana, who's probably going to be up to more antics. Well, there we go. He's off and moving once again. I wonder if there's not more of them that he's going to go and find. And while we kind of watch him amble off this drainage line, let's send you back across to the cuteness overload that is with Ralph in the Mara.
Turned now, the little cubs have all shown themselves. They're all excited because they've probably spent most of the day just denned up, or hiding behind a big log or in the thickets. And now that the females have returned, there's all sorts of greeting going on, lots of aloe grooming, and just look at the excitement with these little ones. That is so precious. And now the energy starts coming through. Not a care in the world, lots of playtime, and I couldn't have asked for more than this. This is too epic. It's wonderful. And I must tell you that this is now my last drive in the Mara for a little while. I will be heading back to South Africa, so this is an absolute gift for me to be with this pride of lions. The little ones going in to drink from mom. And look at that. Very special, hey? And the females were also aloe grooming, not just grooming the youngsters, they were grooming each other, re-establishing those bonds as the gregarious cats that they are, always need to be re-establishing that bond. Now, Chat Noir, you want to know why the little youngsters' eyes are blue when they're first born? Well, I think it's just down to that they change as they get older. They will be in the sunlight a lot more. So when they're young, they don't really need to have that protection of the darker coloration to their eyes, because they're normally denned up in a hole and in darker places. And it's only later when they start to hunt and they're in the real sunlight and that they start to get probably a little bit more melanin in the eyes. And then it starts going a bit darker. So it protects their eyes from the sunlight as they get older. And as they start becoming more active, following the adults, it then obviously is very obvious that they need a little bit more sunlight. Now, I mean, I know from having blue eyes myself, when I was young, the optometrist told me that I would never need glasses in my life. But with the very blue eyes that I have, I spent a lot of time in the sun, and my eyes have literally been burnt. And so now they are a little bit damaged, almost like a small case of arc eyes. And that's all as a result of just the sun. But unfortunately, I'm not able to change colors like these little lion cubs are. So they're adapted, they're evolved to live out in the harsh African sun. And, well, look at that. It's just wonderful. Look at these guys. It's just too precious. And they're looking at us, looking at them, very curious, chasing little butterflies and biting on little branches. There's one off on the left there that's now decided to take a branch and use it as his little play toy. Nice to see so many of them around as well. And there he is. He's attacking that branch. So everyone, from one cat to another, I'm going to send you on down south to South Africa once again, and I think Hosana is having a little bit of bird food.
Well, he's had his bird food now. He's now decided it's time just to clean himself up. One little rover and a bird is enough for one day for now. You can also see that he's incredibly fat, so he's come off that impala kill that he had on Little Gowrie for 3-4 days, and so he's really still got quite a big tummy, and that's why he's panting so much. It's kind of humid and sticky this afternoon, and so I think he's a little bit on the warm side. Hosana, what are you up to? He's very curious this afternoon. He's kind of looking around everywhere. I wonder if it's because the Ellies are drinking that he can hear them but he can't see them, so he's just kind of wondering, how can I go and investigate and see what's going on? But how cool is this? He is such an epic specimen, and he's getting so big now. He's starting to look more and more like a big male leopard. You know, I haven't seen him again for a few days, and every time I see him, he just seems to get larger and larger and larger. So he's such an impressive character, and I really hope he sticks around here with all these kind of dynamics that are happening at the moment in the male leopard world. You know, we had obviously Hukumuri and Gajima this morning having a little go at each other. You know, to see how this is all playing out, I hope it just doesn't affect Hosana and his ability to stay in this area, because he really is such a cool cat to have around, and he's delightful in terms of all of the things that he gets up to. I really enjoy spending time with him as well. But he seems to be just kind of a little bit uncomfortable with things at the moment. It's probably because of that full belly. He just doesn't know really where he wants to lie. He keeps getting up and moving, and he looks around everywhere. So it's almost as though he's looking for Ronald, as if to say, where's my friend that I can play? Well, Hosana, you ate him. So there's going to be no friend for a few weeks, unfortunately, until Ronald has got some running repairs. But then there will be another tire for you to start messing around with. Although I don't think tire is probably the best thing for him too often. Once in a while is all right, but we certainly don't want him eating Ronald every single time. But I think after maybe a little bit of grooming, we might find that he's going to go for a nap. I don't think he's going to walk around too much. He's obviously got a full tummy. He's just had a snack, and so I'm pretty sure he's kind of going to groom, and then it's going to be down and have a nice nap until it gets a bit cooler. Right, while we sit and be patient with Hosana and see what he gets up to. Oh, there we go. He's up and moving again, Vildi. So he's kind of going on another little mission around. And so while we follow him, let's send you back to Ralph and those beautiful lion cubs.
They're stalking each other. They're doing all sorts. Welcome everybody to the Masai Mara and the Mara Triangle, to be specific. We're watching a pride of lions with all the little youngsters. My name is Ralph Kirsten. You're watching Safari Live, and this is absolutely precious. Look, there's a few females around. I think there's 4 of them here, but there's another one that's across over the plain, and she seems to possibly be looking out for some warthogs. But these females have just returned to their cubs, and that's why they're all so full of energy, because they've probably been hidden up behind a log in the thickets for most part of the day, and now that the females and the adults have returned, they are able just to let their energy out and have some fun. And this is very important play time. They do get to learn a lot when they're doing that, getting all the muscle memory that they need for when they're an adult. And so it's very entertaining to watch, but also a very important part of their lives. You can see the females with very swollen mammary glands, and that's obviously because the little youngsters have been suckling off of her. There's 2 different ages of cubs here, as the one climbs over mom, using her as a jungle gym. Now, Alfred, you're saying good morning from California. Good morning, Alfred. It is afternoon for us, but it's great that you're joining us from all the way on the other side of the world, looking at these little cubs. They are too precious, wonderful to see. The females are still looking out, potentially scanning for some warthogs that might come through the grass, but, well, these little youngsters have got not a care in the world. And they often use mommy's tail as a little plaything as well. There we go. Get it. Too cute. So it's nice just to sit and watch them. Nice to sit and watch them. Look at that. Oh, it's going to hurt, Mom. It's got very sharp little spiky teeth. Sooner or later, Mommy's going to turn around and give him a swat, I'm sure. Now, Jackie, you're saying that they're just too beautiful. They are indeed. It's absolutely wonderful to sit so close in the presence of such predators. And lions are absolutely fascinating. They are the most gregarious or sociable cat in the world. And so it's always great to be in such a big group of them. The second to them is the cheetah, and the biggest known group is 5 of them that are across the Mara River in the Greater Mara National Reserve. And so this is totally special with lions. So many cats playing all together. Look at that. Now, Joel, you're wondering if one of the females had to be killed, would another female be able to feed the cubs, before the milk goes bad? Yes, because they are so gregarious, they can allosuckle, and if one of those females had to die, well, they would just look after and adopt those other little cubs. So very, very special that with lions. Look at the little tag they're playing there. Now, Lauren from Pittsburgh, you want to know how old are these cubs? There's two groups of cubs here. These little ones here can't be older than a month. They're actually very young, and the other ones probably just over 2 months. There we go, that age there. Now, once they get to 6 months, lions really mature very quickly. At around 6 months is the time when they can almost follow the adults and go off hunting. They'll lose their milk teeth at around 3 months, and so that's when they can already start really fully feeding on meat. But at this young age, they are predominantly drinking milk from mum. But the older one is already probably eating a bit of meat. But at this age, it's probably only milk. But it's amazing how quickly they mature, and it's absolutely fascinating. So everyone, I'm very happy that you've all been able to join me, and I'm absolutely over the moon that I've had this little experience. Now, you can go and watch this anytime on Facebook, and, well, thank you very much for joining us. We are here in Kenya, in the Masai Mara, and you've been watching Safari Live.
Well, I'm sorry, James, if you were hoping that it would survive. It's most certainly has not survived, unfortunately, and it is now inside the belly of poor Hosana. Well, not poor Hosana. I suppose Hosana is feeling very much chuffed with himself. As you can see there, he's kind of standing with his head held high, and he's just surveying his area at the moment. He's such a funny cat. Watching him here, and he kind of moves, and then he lies down for a little bit, and then he's like, no, I don't want to lie here. Then he gets up and he moves a little bit more. Then he sees something moving, then he goes and investigates that. If the grass blows too much, then he investigates that. Then he goes to the trees and checks around there, and then he lies down again, and then he's up again. So he just, I don't think once knows what he wants to do at the moment, but he's enjoying a bit of a breeze up there as well. There's a nice little wind that's blowing, so on top of this damn wall, if he gets a little higher, he'll be able to cool himself down nicely. John Michael, you're wondering if I think Hosana will move away from this area eventually. Difficult to say. It's obviously, we're in a situation where there is a flux at the moment. There's males that are in that are not, males that we know very well, and they're not going to be very tolerant of Hosana, unfortunately. But in saying that, he is starting to get bigger, and he is starting to kind of show some signs of bulk. And so, maybe he is able to kind of sort of take a section of this area. Maybe we won't see him as much, but with Tingana kind of not pushing him out and certainly not making any attempt to get rid of Hukumuri at the moment, Hosana's maybe got a gap to try and sneak in here and just take over this little section that he's in at the moment. The thing is, though, he's going to get a lot of competition. If Tingana's not around, you're going to soon find Quarantine pushing for this area. You're going to find Hukumuri obviously moving. Gajima maybe he's going to start making inroads. So there's a lot of big males around Hosana that he's really going to have to pay attention and really kind of watch in order to stay around here. So it's anyone's guess at this stage. I really hope he does. Look at him. What's not to love about this cat? He kind of always has this happy-go-lucky feel to him. Ben, who's 9 years old. Ben, well, you ask probably one of the better questions. You want to know, where is Shadow? Ben, I would love to know myself. I have no idea where Shadow is at the moment, and it's something that is definitely a question that many are asking. I know there's been some photos put up recently on various social media platforms of Shadow. I just don't know how current those are. It often happens that guides will take photos, and they will then, have a situation where they only posted a few weeks later. But we have no idea. I haven't heard of an update of Shadow. I have asked, and everyone that I've asked says no, they don't know where she is. I know that there was a sighting a few weeks ago somewhere on Little Gowrie, but since then there's been very little that I've heard. And like I say, I've asked a number of guides as to what's going on. Right, Hosana, are you going to be up? How cool will this be? If he goes up on this ledge and lies down and look at us, it's going to be just so spectacular. But for now, he's a bit undecided. He's kind of just looking around. I think it's because the adult Egyptian goose just came flying over. But how sort of African is that? Blue sky in the background, a bit of green grass, and a beautiful rosetted cat in the foreground. It's as good as it really gets, if you ask me. It's certainly a wonderful end to the week, and as good as I could have asked for. Now, there's some elephants coming as well that are going to disturb Hosana. They're just on our left-hand side, and they're slowly filtering through the bush. Look, they're not far away from where he is at all. They're coming out this way. Maybe that's why he got up and moved. You see, he's slinking now. And look at that. How cool is that? We're eye level with Hosana. He is right here. It's almost like a Ronald the Rover shot of Hosana, except it's from the car. That is so cool. Hello, boy. Oh, look at that. And the light is so perfect on him as well. You can see he's giving way to the elephants rather sharply. I think he's worked out, I'm not going to be able to stay where these elephants are about to walk, and so he's going to walk behind us. Now, I'm going to have to reposition because we are obviously can't go forward at all because he walked right past us. So while I kind of try and follow, Hosana, there's a big eroded section there. I'm going to try and get out of this little eroded section and not get Jigger stuck. And so while I do that, I'm going to send you back across to Ralph and a cub that's eating a toadstool.
Look at this, everyone. This little cub, he's found himself a toadstool, and he thinks he's got himself a prize, and everyone else is trying to get it from him. But, well, it's making him cough and sneeze, and I don't think that's really what you want to be doing, buddy. Because, yeah, that might make you a little bit sick. But it is quite amusing to watch because every now and then he picks it up and there's this big cloud of dust, and it's actually the spores of the toadstool that is coming out of it. And now they're all trying to get it away from him, and just because of that, now he's protecting it. You can see all that spores around his face, full of the brown dust almost that the toadstools emit. Now they're all coming to have a look. Quite silly, really, because that wouldn't be very comfortable. As youngsters do, well, sometimes you don't really explain things, do you? It's just all in the name of fun. And that's the way they learn sometimes. I don't know if he'll be going after a toadstool in a hurry after this. It's giving him quite the coughs and splutters. Jack, you're wondering if toadstools are poisonous. They're not particularly poisonous per se, but it could give him a little bit of a cough and a sneeze, and so it's not like it's going to poison him. It's just going to probably irritate his nose and maybe his lungs, so he might actually stay coughy for quite a while after this. And you can see he's not quite happy now, but he's still protecting it. But he's got all that dust. It's almost like getting ash up your nose and inhaling it. H. Macy, you want to know what a toadstool is exactly? It's in the fungus family, and so that dust that is coming out, and when I say fungus, I mean mushrooms. You get the toadstools and the normal mushrooms, and you also get all sorts of different kinds. But this one has got like a chamber on the inside, and then that all that spores and that powder that's coming out is actually like eggs. That's the way that they reproduce. So that is millions of tiny little eggs that every time when he puts his mouth around it and squashes it, well, it blows out all those spores. And so that's how they disperse and reproduce in the right conditions. But, well, now you can see he's got a bit of a cough now because he's inhaled it. So I don't think it will be very comfortable. I don't think it will be very dangerous for him. As I say, it's just very uncomfortable, and it could last for a couple of days, maybe giving him a bit of a cough. So it's not the end of the world that he's doing that, but it is quite comical. And look at them, they're all grabbing something and then chasing each other, tackling each other. And Megs, who is from FC, is actually in the back of the vehicle with us. She's also on her last drive, so she thought she'd come out with us. She just commented that it's very clear that the little youngsters, when they tackle each other, they go for the rump, and it's almost like they're practicing like going for a zebra, going for a buffalo. It's almost exactly the same as when they would hunt. So that's what I'm saying. This play, you see, going for the rump. It's that playtime is very important for that specific reason. They get those skills that later, when they're adults, they're going to need for survival. but here all down to play, and I think this one needs to learn a lesson that toadstools are not to be eaten.
Indeed. Well, Hosana and he's joined by a whole bunch of Ellies who are having the best time playing around in Chitra Dam. So Chitra Dam is spoiling us this afternoon. Lots happening. There's Hosana. He's now hunting something else. I don't know what it is. I think maybe a monitor lizard that went running into a hole here because he's sniffing around. He was stalking and moving and looking, and he's looking as though he's found something, isn't it? He's kind of got a sort of very quizzical look. And there, the paw's going in to the bank. What have you got there, Hosana? I wonder if he's found something in there. Like I say, maybe a monitor lizard. We know he's hunted monitor lizards before, so maybe that's what he's after. But it's in the eroded sections, and he can't actually get himself into that area. What are you up to, boy? Look at the tail. You see the tail's now starting to twitch. He is such a funny cat. What are you doing? Now he's got... If he can get hold of it, he'll definitely try and drag it out, whatever it is. I surmise it's a monitor lizard. That's what I think it might be. But look at that light on him as well. Absolutely spectacular. And the best part about this is like I say, it's him. It's him plus I don't even know how many elephants that are spread all around. Paula, you say he's all about the small snacks today. Indeed, he's kind of given up on the big things. He had a nice... So VM says he's got the munchies. Well, VM, maybe he's got the munchies, but he's given up on the big things. He's had a big impala during the week, so now it's just to top everything up. I think it's kind of going in the eroded sections. That's why he's moving around, trying to figure out a way. How can I get to this lizard? I'm sure it's a lizard. It can't be anything else fitting inside there. I suppose there could be baby birds that have run into those eroded sections, but I know there's a monitor lizard that spends time very close to this part of the dam wall. Now he's kind of stalking along. I feel sorry for any bird today, because if you're a bird, you're going to about to have a very bad day with Hosana around. What is he doing? He's figured out something is inside there. He's a curious cat. Now, I don't know if you can hear in the background, there are elephants absolutely trumpeting with delight because they're having the best time. All those young bulls pushing each other around. How cool is that? So it's not only a leopard that is busy stalking around. There's bull elephants playing. There's another whole herd of elephants off to our left-hand side and behind us. So there's another herd that's over there. Like I say, Chitra Dam is absolutely on fire. There's hippos, there's beautiful blue sky, a bit of a breeze. It is just the perfect place to spend some time. Luck seems to be changing, Vildi. We seem to be doing just fine this afternoon. And I think the Ellies are still busy playing about. You can see they're chasing one another. The thing about Ellie swimming is that they have the best fun ever. Right, now we're going to show off all of these animals, not just to all of you, but I think we shall do an action broadcast as well, just because of the fact that we've got swimming Ellies, we've got a leopard. It just seems to be all happening. So I'm going to hold off speaking shortly so that we can just get everybody to join us this afternoon, and more the merrier when you have sightings like this, that's for sure. Well, a very warm welcome to all of you that have just joined us for this live action broadcast. As you can see, it is a warm day in sunny South Africa, and the Ellies are at play. They are having the best time in the water. They are playing, they are pushing each other around, and it's because of how warm it is. It's always good for elephants to try and get into these areas. Now, my name is Tristan. On camera today I've got VM, and it is not just the Ellies that we have here. We also have a game drive vehicle that is driving past us. They are also here to try and see some of the animals that are around. There is one other creature that is sitting here, and it is sitting just off to my left. So not only do we have swimming Ellies, but we have a lurking leopard as well. Now, this is a young male leopard that hangs around in this area. He's one of the more famous leopards. And look, he's stalking. You see, he's gone into stalk mode. We've already seen him kill an Egyptian goose chick here this afternoon, and now he's starting to look as though he's spotted something inside that little thicket. And I wonder what he's seen. Now, maybe it's another baby bird, maybe it's a monitor lizard, but you can see the tail is indicating that he's certainly spotted something and that he's interested in looking what's inside of that bush. So he's kind of having a little good look around and just wondering what's going on. He's a very quizzical cat. He often likes to move around and kind of go after smaller things, and so it's an absolute treat to be able to follow him. Now, I also forgot to mention that you can ask lots and lots of questions, so just remember to post your questions or comments in the section below, and you'll be able to get through any, and we'll try and answer as many as possible. But how amazing is this? So we don't only have, like I say, the leopard, but the elephants are all around us. There's hippos, there's lots of birds flying around. It's a magical scene to be in, and it's a perfect place to spend an afternoon, and especially when it's warm. This is what happens, is a lot of the animals come down to water in order to just quench their thirst, as well as just to be able to kind of have a bit of fun, as you can see by these Ellies who are still having the best time. There's also now a giraffe that's just joined the scene as well. Now, Madison, you say so much action. Well, it seems like it. It seems as though animals are literally just popping out of everywhere. So there's a big bull giraffe that's come onto the scene, whole big herd of elephants that are in the corner here. So please excuse the aerial. That's from the back of the car, and that's how we are able to get all of your questions. But this is a nice herd that is starting to make their way across, and hopefully it's going to be a situation where they're going to join up with these other swimming elephants, and we're going to see everybody all kind of together. Those two young bulls are not quite yet ready to leave the swimming pool just yet. Well, in fact, there's actually 3 of them there, maybe 4 of them. There is a 4th one is popping its head up, and you'll find the young males are always like this. They love to play in these areas. They love to kind of go into the water and be quite boisterous and push each other around, and it's much like teenage kids at a swimming pool. You know, you let them loose when it's a hot day and everybody goes a little crazy, and so the Ellies just have an absolute whale of a time. Of course, it upsets the hippos a little bit. Ramit, you say it looks like a family day spa. It is very much like a family day spa, isn't it? There's kind of a bit of action all over the place. There's a big herd of elephants together. There's, the Ellies in the water kind of going after each other. There's the hippos also enjoying the spa day as well. So there's a bit of everything happening. Now, our leopard is still sitting there. He's not really started stalking too intently. I think he spotted something and it probably slinked off. Bill, you're wondering who this leopard's mother is? Well, this leopard's mother has probably had one of the most famous female leopards of all, and her name was Karula. Look, you see how he's leopard crawling along the bank? I wonder what he's after. I'm sure there must be a bird or a lizard down below that he's looking at. Now, he has to be very, very careful, because in this water point here are very big crocodiles. There's 2 big crocodiles here that could be very dangerous to him. So he needs to be a little careful about what he's doing and how close he actually gets to the water. And so he hopefully is going to stop a little bit further away, because talking about his mother taught him a very valuable lesson about a year ago. I think it was about 2 or 3 days ago to the day, that he actually was down close to water with his sister, and his mom came in and pulled them away from that area because there was a crocodile in the water, and she was hissing at the crocodile, and it was almost a lesson to the cubs that you need to be very careful when you go down to big water points like this. And so he's kind of being a little bit more wary. Hopefully he doesn't venture too close, because like I say, a crocodile would definitely latch onto him. Now, Bianca, you're wondering why all the animals are so close together. Well, there's 2 reasons for it. One is, like I say, it's a very warm day today, which means that all the animals are coming down for a late afternoon drink. They've lost a lot of moisture through the day, trying to stay cool in the form of, sweating, or in the fact that they've got to kind of stand in the sun, and particularly something like an elephant. And so that attracts them to water. The second thing that we have is that on this big open clearing off to the left-hand side, you see a number of big trees. Hippos are busy talking as well. So those number of big trees at the moment are all fruiting. Now, the fruit on those trees, it's called a marula tree. Those fruits are very nutritious and very tasty, and that attracts a lot of the elephants. You'll find that giraffe don't normally feed on them, but every now and then will, and a number of other antelope species will also eat them. What that then means is that there's a lot of prey for something like a leopard, and that's why the leopard then comes in as well. And so that's why everybody's close together. The reason the elephants aren't too worried about the leopard is because the elephants are far too big for a leopard to be going after, especially a younger male like this. He's not going to challenge big bull elephants or even young male elephants. They're far too large and too strong for him. So have a situation where, he's not worrying the elephants are not worrying him, and that's why everybody's kind of close together. Now, Dory, you say this is on your bucket list of places to go. Well, Dory, I hope one day you will be able to get out here. It is absolutely phenomenal to be in the wilds of Africa. We are so fortunate to be able to spend a lot of time out here, and hopefully you are loving seeing a bit of Africa. Now, Ian has just gone in on a couple of birds. There's actually 4 different species of bird there. So we have the big one with its wings open, called an open-billed stork, that is opening its wings out to try and just get a bit cooler, much like a cat would pant or a dog would pant. So that open bill is opening its wings just to catch the breeze. Now behind it to the right is a common greenshank, which is bobbing along. And then in front of the common greenshank is a 3-banded plover, which is the one sort of running a little bit more to the right now. And then all the birds sitting down are white-faced whistling ducks. So they're also around, and they make the most beautiful whistling call when they all kind of fly up into the air. So nice to have lots of different bird species. And there's our leopard. He's up and moving again. What have you seen? I wonder what's there. I think maybe there's a bird or something that he's trying to follow. You can see the flies are irritating him a bit as well. His coat is constantly twitching, and that's because of those little insects that are landing on him. There's a number of what we call biting flies at the moment, and the biting flies are very irritating. They hurt when they kind of get onto your coat or your skin. So, Michael, you're wondering, is this really live? Michael, to quote my good friend Brent Leo Smith, who is another one of our presenters, this is 100% live. And so we are coming to you from Africa. And hopefully, Michael, you have some questions that you would like to know about any of the animals that we've seen this afternoon so far. So the elephants or the leopard or the hippos or any of those kind of things. And you'll be able to then ask away, and we will be able to answer them for you just to show you how live it actually is. Now, there's our boy just peering through the bushes. Is there something in there? I wonder if it's something in the bushes itself that he's busy watching at the moment. Certainly seems interested in something in there. Are you going to come out, Hosana? Now, this male, we call him Hosana because Hosana is the little chief or little prince. And so it's because of his kind of calm demeanor and the fact that he was born to this very famous female who was the kind of queen of this area that he got this royal title. Right. Now, I think he's possibly found himself a little shady patch where he's going to lie down and just take a rest. And so we're going to carry on with our afternoon, and we're going to leave you all here. But remember that you can catch us on wildsafariLive.com, and it is an absolute pleasure to have had you all with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll leave you with one last view of the beautiful scenery at Chitwa. He is indeed. He's back to the hole where we first started after a bit of a rest in the shade, and is quizzically looking down into that little erosion gully once again and hoping that whatever it is going to pop out. I somehow fear that... Oh, there we go. What has he got? Has he got it? It looks like he's kind of trying to get his paw in there. If it's a monitor lizard, he's going to get himself into trouble at some point because it's going to hurt if that monitor bites him on the nose. But let's see, maybe he pulls something out. You never know with Hosana. He is able to do all kinds of things. He's a bit like a magician and pulling rabbits out hats. He kind of is able to get in there. I wonder if he's got... No, still kind of trying to get in. Oh, yeah. He's got his nose deep inside that gully, and his paw is going in as well. I just don't think he can reach whatever it is. I would love to be able to be on the other side to see. This is where we need Ronald to be able to drive Ronald up into that area, although I think it's a bit steep for Ronald. Ronald might end up in the drink if we drove it there, but it would have been interesting just to see what's going on inside that hole and how deep it actually is. Is there a monitor lizard hiding in there? Is there some sort of other animal that potentially is in this section? Hello, boy. Is the sun very bright? It looks like he needs a pair of sunglasses while he's doing this hunt, because you can see this line of sun is just above his eye level. But how beautiful is this cat? He is looking so good, considering all that he's gone through over the last year. To be where he is and to look the way he does is absolutely phenomenal. He really is starting to look like a big boy. Tani, you're wondering if it could be a mongoose? I suppose it could be, but it would... Yeah, it's a strange place for mongoose to be. Mongoose generally don't hide in these areas. Are you going to come say hello, Hosana? He's kind of walking right up to the side of the car. He's literally actually quite close to our tire at the moment. But I don't think it's a mongoose. We would find that if it was a mongoose probably would have scattered and there would have been more than one of them. Mongoose also don't typically spend much time close to water like this, especially a big water source and out in the open because of the number of predators. So you'll have things like... Oh, there's the side of the car. Are you going to sleep there, Hosana? Is that where you've decided you want to make friends with Jigger? Yes. So we're going to lie down right next to us, which is, of course, what Hosana loves to do. So there we go. He's making friends with Jigger, and that's as close as you could possibly be. We're so close, in fact, that we can get full kind of frame shots of his eyes and the spots on top of his head. So there we go. If we ever get a shot of his head again or his neck, those are the spots on Hosana's neck. Isn't that ridiculous? How cool is this? Hosana, are you happy there? I can't even actually see him with the naked eye. That's how close he is. He's literally lying right next to our left-hand tire. He's about, not even, I would say, 50 centimeters away from us. So there you go. You can see there, and even his feet are being cut off on the side of the car from where the camera is, and the camera points pretty much straight down. It is very cool to see. He's obviously missed VM and wants to come and say hello just to see how VM's been doing. Nikki, I think I got the gist of your question. You're wondering, are there any more male leopards that we're not seeing on drive? Is that what the question was, Kirst? So yes, there are more male leopards that we are not seeing on drive. Many male leopards that we do not see on drive. But in the immediate vicinity that we're in, there is a male called Mfukazi, which is a male that is seen on Buffelshoek and has been seen on Simbambili, who looks like a slightly older individual. Then there's Anderson, who is to the west of us. There somewhere should be Shivambalana, Mishu, and Induna to the east, which would be all Karula's lineage and brothers to Hosana, but there haven't really been too many updates on those three for quite some time. To the south of us, we've got Kunyuma, which is again a brother of Hosana. So Karula's boys have really done well. They're kind of all in this section. So Kunyuma's to the south of us, known as Senegal Bushmale, where he is. And then there's a number of males on Singita, Londolozi, Mala, all to the sort of south and west of us, all over the place. So there's a number of different males that we don't see on live drives, but in our immediate vicinity, we've pretty much seen most of them. And the only one that I don't think we've ever had on camera out of all those ones that I've just mentioned is Mfukazi. That's, I think, the only one that we haven't seen. The rest of them we would have seen on camera at some point, most of them when they were much younger, but it's amazing the success that Karula's had and how her male offspring have spread into this whole section and really taken over this northern section of the Sabi Sands. I mean, like I say, the most southern one of her lineage is Kunyuma, who's on Mala and down on the Sand River and is really doing really well down there. He's produced a lot of cubs already from what I gather and is kind of taken over a nice portion of territory. And then you've got obviously Shivambalana, Mishu, and Duna that pushed into the Kruger National Park to the east. There's Quarantine, there's obviously Hosana that is doing really well at the moment, and so she's really kind of produced great males that have become incredible individuals and very, very pretty individuals too. And so I hope Hosana is going to be another one like Quarantine or Kunyuma that settles in an area where we'll still be able to follow him. But look at how beautiful those rosettes are. That is why one of the reasons why leopards are my favorite, is to be able to see those markings and kind of see it ghosting through the bush is always an absolute privilege. And to see one this close that we can literally zoom up to a single rosette is absolutely phenomenal. So there's a couple of other. How cool is that? We always got every single little hair in amongst the rosettes. Very special. Hosana, you are a very trusting cat. This is the reason why people love Hosana, and this is it, is that he's just so relaxed and so just giving in terms of the amount of amazing things we've had from him already in such a short space of time. Now, Judy, you say he knows who his friends are. Well, I would hope so. It was quite interesting because when we arrived here, and it almost seemed like the same thing this morning with James. When James arrived, he was kind of just curled up, sitting there as if to say, James, where have you been? I was here on time and you were late this morning. Why weren't you here on time? And then, we came here this afternoon and we literally drove up onto the dam wall and he was standing at attention. He was literally up and looking over the dam wall as if to say, who's here? I want to see who it is. Is it anybody that I know? And I wonder if he senses some sort of, I don't know, that he gets some sort of recognition in us and our vehicles and the fact that he's followed them and that we've kind of been a part of his life ever since the beginning, that maybe that's why he's just so kind of relaxed, and when he sees these vehicles coming he just feels at ease or knows that we're coming. I don't know, it's an interesting situation. they are intelligent animals, and I think we should give them far more credit than we do. Now, Susie, you want to say you want to hop down and try and just take off all the ticks that are on him. I know, Susie, it's never nice when there's a few ticks on a cat, but it is part of life, particularly in the summer months after a bit of rain. We do get a lot of ticks, and that's why you've seen a lot on the Hukumas, and even Hosana has got a few ticks on him, but he'll be able to clean them off. They are really good at grooming themselves. Leopard are meticulous about it. They take a lot of time, and we saw this morning how he was able to scratch them off. Right, now I believe I need to send you across to Noel, who's got a beautiful landscape to show you.
Finally, so while we were sitting waiting for our buffalo to come out, we could hear some impalas alarm calling. So we sat and waited, and Rexon, he's just lying in the shade here, Rexon went to follow up on the impala alarm calls, and look who we have found. Nope, not Rexon in the background as guest, but it's Hukumuri, that big male leopard that we saw live on the show this morning. He's not far from where he killed that warthog, but he is far from where he killed the steenbok. And he seems to be sniffing around looking for something else to eat. I really don't think that he managed to get that warthog back from those hyenas that we saw earlier this morning. And it is still quite warm, although not as warm as before. So he's definitely on the hunt for another meal. You can see him panting and moving his whole body. That helps him relieve a lot of that heat. Yes, he's got a nice big thick neck, this male. Beautiful male leopard. Now don't forget, we are live and interactive. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. We're on the YouTube chat, and we love your questions. Oh, Paula, thank you for the giggle. You're saying chicken medicine. Exactly. So, Hukumuri means chicken medicine in Shangaan. It is not the most stately name for a leopard, but it's a good name to have a chuckle over. And I believe Tristan has told you the story about how he was named after a river line, a drainage line south from us. But that there's been a lot of talk around the fact if he is actually Hukumuri female's son and not another male. And I believe the story is that he was misnamed. And he is not, in fact, that son. Maybe we can give him a nickname on Safari Live. All right, we're in a funny little position. What I would like to do is just... Oh, some Egyptian geese are yelling at us. I just want to move forward and around a little bit. If you all wouldn't maybe mind letting me do that. And while we are busy doing that, why don't we head over to another leopard, a much younger leopard, to Tristan and Hosana.
Well, indeed, a much younger leopard, and a leopard that's going to have to be very, very careful about Hukumuri's presence, because if Hukumuri starts to move in this direction, well, he's got a lot of issues to deal with then, Hosana, and it's not going to be the same response that he's gotten from Tingano, that's for sure. But it's going to be interesting. I think it's a long way for Hukumuri to move all the way down towards Chitwa, and he's still very far from this area and hasn't yet showed any intention to move this far just yet, but you never know. Now, talking about his name, obviously it's a ridiculous name in terms of what it actually means. Chicken medicine sounds completely out of context, but it's actually got a little bit of a backstory to it. So it's not just chicken medicine as in that's what it is. It comes from a plant that they feed to chickens when chickens are not well, apparently. So there is a plant that is called the Hukumuri plant, and it was kind of given that name because apparently it helps when chickens are not feeling or not doing well for whatever sickness they may have. And that's why they fed it to them. And because that plant often grows in places where there is water and drainage lines, I don't know which plant it is. We're still trying to find out exactly which plant it is, but we're told that it's kind of grows in drainage sections, so I'm keen to find out which one it is. But because of that, a drainage line that comes out of the communities and into the Sabi Sands was called the Hukumuri drainage, and it's because of that reason. It's probably because the plant grew there, and that was then fed to chickens back in the day, and that's how it was named. His name doesn't come because of that plant. It doesn't become because of chickens or anything else. It was because it was from an area that they perceived him to come from, even though that is also not true as well. Now, curious one, Chris, if you can repeat what name you thought of something. I didn't catch the exact name that you said. The go-away leopard. Well, yes, I believe many of you want him to go away. Funny enough, I want him to go away from a point of view of Thandi and the cub and various other things, but I actually quite like him. I know this is going to shock a lot of people, but I think he's something about him. He's a bit of an edgy character. He's got a little bit of something to him, and I like the way that he looks. He's got a bit of fierceness to him and a bit of kind of, I don't know, there's something about him that I quite enjoy. And if it weren't for the fact that we had so many cubs around, I wouldn't be that sort of opposed to him arriving in this area. You're always going to have new males. As long as he doesn't push down towards Hosana, I'm quite happy for him to take that sort of northwestern block. And if Tingana can control the eastern side and keep Thandi safe, well, then that's all fine. Now, there you see a beautiful little bee-eater. So the little beast has just flown away as well. Now, James Richard, you say you guys have nicknamed him the Hulk on his group. Well, yes, I suppose Hulk would be quite a good name for him. He kind of gets a bit foamy at the mouth like the Hulk does sometimes. As long as he doesn't turn green and start kind of throwing people around, he'll certainly be all right. But seems to fit him a little bit more than chicken medicine. Chicken medicine just doesn't really go well when you talk about a rosetted cat. Right, Hosana is just taking in the view and is absolutely loving being out on Chitwa Dam Wall and just watching what's going on. And I'm sure James Henry is looking very much like Hosana and is reclining, watching the sun going down.
Yes, and everyone, we've changed into infrared because it's a lot different here in Kenya. It's a lot darker now. The sun has set quite a while ago, so it is almost pitch dark, and these lions have gone on the move. This little youngster, however, is a bit of a straggler, trying to catch up now with the rest, and they're disappearing a little bit off into the grass. I might need to move forward just so that I can potentially get a bit of a closer look on them. Go a little bit forward. I just need to be very careful that there's not any little cubs just in the grass here. So I'm keeping my eyes open. I might even just switch on my light just to be sure. Don't want to bump into any of them. Keeping their safety in mind. And there's another female in front of us. So let's just get a little bit off onto the side and maybe we can see where they're going. Okay, so while we try and get a little bit closer to these lions, let's head you on back to South Africa and Noel with a leopard on the move.
I have a leopard making a move, that's for sure, and I have to share a story with you all as we watch this indecent footage of Hukumuri. I've got Jandre with me, and Jandre and I like to sing when we're on the car, and Jandre was singing Soft Kitty just now, and it's making me laugh really, really, really hard, and now I can tell all of you are doing Soft Kitty in your heads as well. It's you gotta have fun out here. You definitely have to have fun. So he's decided to come out on the road, and he did a little bit of scent marking. Now he's just had a bit of a bowel movement. And it looks as if he's definitely eaten something more than that steenbok that we saw earlier. I am going to try and move forward so that we can keep him in view. We've got Rexon and his guests in the background there, joining us in our sighting. Well, he found them, so we are joining him in this beautiful sighting. Now, some of you have said that you are going to rename this male leopard the go-away male. And then I believe James Hendry said that you're going to call him the Hulk. So he's getting a few nicknames. That's quite nice. Oh, sorry, James Richard. James Richard, you're calling him the Hulk. James, I like it. That's a beautiful screenshot, everybody. I don't know if you managed that there. When he turned his head a little bit to the right. We've got some nice light that's filtering through. From the background, it's going to be sunset shortly. Now he's stopped. He's spied something. He's looking. He's decided, nope, not for me. He's going to carry around the backside of that termite mound. And then once we lose view, I'm just going to move around so that we can try and keep him on screen as long as possible. Now, this morning during show, he was in this exact same area. This is where he went after he killed the warthog and then stashed it and then was sniffing around. So he seems to be making figure eights and loops. And if you all have been watching with us for a while, Tristan had the same problem with Hukumuri for days. Nancy Drew, you'd like to know if we collect leopard scat for Panthera. Nancy Drew, we don't collect the leopard scat, but we do give them movements of lions when we see them. Some of the research I used to do with lions, I would collect their dung after they had had a kill to collect genetic material, but I haven't had to do that with leopards. I do know that obviously Panthera does it, as well as some other places, but right physically where we are on Juma, as far as I know, Panthera is not doing any active research where they would need that scat with them. It's very stinky when it's fresh like this, by the way. All right, let's head up to Kenya, to another cat, one of Africa's 3 largest cats, to Ralph and his lions, who are also on the move, and we're going to move around and get another view.
And look at this, everyone. The adult females, they've disappeared off, but these youngsters are following up quite slowly, and they're also playing the stalking game. Look at that. And there's a very small little youngster who's just coming past the vehicle now, trying to catch up with the rest. You're going to see it burst out onto the road now. He doesn't want to be left behind. And I always do get a little bit scared for the little ones like this, because that little bit of calling like that could attract the attention of a hyena, who would very quickly come in and kill it. Dale, you want to know if, with those little ones, if the mom could stay behind, or the male could stay behind with the youngsters. Generally, the males won't stay behind with the youngsters, but every now and then you can have one of the females that might stay behind with them. But it's very obvious when they do want the youngsters to stay behind. They normally get up and walk with real intention. But sometimes the little ones don't really listen. They maybe haven't seen their mommies for the whole day, and then they are very attached and they don't want to leave mom. And we had that the other day, where it was very obvious the females wanted to go off hunting, but the youngsters didn't want to listen, and so they continued off with the mom, so they didn't get the hunt that they wanted. But anyway, it seems these lions have disappeared off into the grass, so let's head you on back to Noel in South Africa, and I think she might still be with that leopard.
Everyone, this is the screenshot. That other screenshot was beautiful, but this is gorgeous. Hukumuri having a drink at one of the little seasonal pans that's filled up after that beautiful rain we had last night. I think this will be a good time to take possibly our moment of silence. This is too good to give up. Okay, well, the moment of silence didn't work. We have neighbors. Hi, guys. That's okay. So basically where we're sitting to be able to get the best photography is Rex and I are sitting right next to each other, and this is just such an amazing sighting that obviously we want everybody to enjoy as well. So we got a little bit of a moment of silence there, and we will definitely do another moment of silence. I can also hear cameras going in the background, and I'm itching for my camera, but as you all are so kind to me every day, I know you'll send me through some screenshots. Eric, really good question. Leopards can definitely get mange. Any of the mammal wildlife that we see out here can get mange. It is a parasite. The scarcopic mange is the one that we get here, that one that you would see with the Styx pride. And the parasite burrows down into the follicle of hair at the base there by the skin, and then causes a great amount of infection and itchiness, and then the itching causes more infection, and then obviously the mange carries on. Now you can get rid of mange, as you've seen with the Styx, they're not looking as bad, but if your overall health is not good, then the mange won't necessarily leave you. And that mange, that scarcopic mange that comes over, actually comes from domesticated animals like dogs and cats. So proximity of wildlife areas to proximity of human inhabited areas leads to wildlife having things like mange. Great question, Eric. I can actually hear him drinking just a little bit, but I think it's a bit too far. It's just a tiny little lap. Oh, you guys can hear it as well? That's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, James has a moment for all of you. Maybe we can do our peaceful moment with him there with the sunset as Hukumuri finishes up his drink.
Well, what's astounding is that we've given you 2 sunsets, if you can believe it. Such bonuses do not come normally for free. And here we are, watching the sun going down again on quarantine clearings, which really do need another name. For one should not be watching the romance of a sunset like this and talking about things like disease and quarantine. I'm not sure what we should call it, but I don't think quarantine should be it. Ah, magnificent. Scarlett, do you want to know how far we've walked today? Not very far, Scarlett. We've probably only walked about maybe 2 miles. We kept finding little insects today. It was a really nice kind of small thing walk. And over the course of the TV shows, of course, the focus has been trying to find elephants and, you know, tracking the leopards so that we knew where they were in the mornings. And today has been a much more relaxed, enjoyable, for me, certainly, look at the smaller stuff where there hasn't been any pressure to find anything large. I say that now, but I've just seen a fairly large elephant that is going to block our way home. He's over there. We might have to request assistance in order to get home. Okay, well, that's going to be it from us, everybody. Let's go back to Hukumuri-san for the rest of the drive.
So he's had his bit of a drink, and now he's going to have a nice rest next to this seasonal pan. So we can get a nice long look at him. And there's a beautiful reflection. Thank you for that, Jean-Dre. That is gorgeous. Beautiful reflection in the water there. I'm really enjoying this male. I know that it's hard. I don't want anything to happen to... Sorry, I'm just going to wait for these guys to move out. I also don't want anything to happen to Tundi's cub. And I would like Tingana to stick around. I really enjoy Tingana. But it's nice to see a new face, and it's nice to see a face with such a crazy character. That one eye on his right-hand side that sort of sinks in. And the fact that he's sort of sitting here with his tongue sticking out like that. He really is the thug of our area. Bobby, you're saying you're not ready for the drive to be over? You're putting that in capitals. Bobby, I agree. I definitely agree. We've had a nice drive. We've also had excellent TV shows and excellent drives this past week. We've had some really, really, really great sightings. I'm also not ready. We've got that beautiful sunset that's coming through. We've got our male leopard that's sitting here. But don't worry, Bobby, we're also going to be back tomorrow at 5:30 our time till 8:30. And twice a day. Oh, no, sorry. Tomorrow morning, we're not back tomorrow morning. I'm so sorry. That was a mistake. Tomorrow morning, we don't have show. Tomorrow morning, we have off. Tomorrow afternoon, we have show. And show will be at 3:30 our time. I'm sorry about that. Please excuse me. I'm so used to the double shows. So it's 2:30 Kenyan time, which is, I believe, 3:30 our time, Kirst, yeah? I think so. Oh, the other way around. So 2:30 our time, which is 3:30 Kenyan time. Thank you, Kirsty. Sorry about that. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for a lovely afternoon, myself and Jean-Dre, and from James and Tristan and Ralph and the Mara. We hope that you enjoyed, and we hope that you'll join us tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be another epic adventure into the bush in Africa live.